Welcome to Hanover Park.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I like to respect your time and hanging around with the schools as I do. I guess I better turn this off. I don't need a distraction from here. I'll try to do that this morning. It's been a busy year. It's been a busy, this last week it's been, I think I saw myself fly by. You know, I was going to Washington, D.C. And so you used to say on the highway, coming and going. I'd like to thank Charmaine for being here this morning, a board member. Most of the board works. I'm not going to say Charmaine doesn't work. It's two young children. She's busy all the time. I'd like to thank our libraries for being here. David, coming in late for work, or you'll be late to work this morning, but it's nice to have you here. David is on the library board. And Deb, thank you for being here. Having the libraries represented is always exceptional. And some of our residents are here this morning. Last year, it was me and 3 people. We had that big snowstorm, and it was like 48 degrees below zero. And I was happy to make it here. But we did do that. We had, this morning, we're streaming live on Facebook. I believe we'll be recorded and show up someplace. But as you know, I have a wonderful board, very supportive board. We're able to get a lot of things done effectively and efficiently. I have a staff I'd like to thank. Juliana is here. She was downtown recently with our Remy, and where's Remy? Remy's here. There she is, hiding in the back row. Our finances had a review on our bond rating, and we didn't lose any points. As a matter of fact, they thought we were doing quite exceptionally well. And so it's nice to have the resources, and their efficiency demonstrates that we have the resources for our budget, balanced budget, a reserve that if anything happens, we're in good shape. We've managed to do a number of things, but I'm going to try to follow a script, otherwise I'll start repeating myself. So thank you all for coming. I do value that. A few of my initiatives that I've been working on, I mentioned, is anyone here from the township? Okay. My eyesight's changing, so I can't see close, I can't see far. I leave here, I go to the ophthalmologist again. So thank you for coming. In our highlighter, I hope you grab a copy. We have an outline for the 4 townships and the exceptional job and support they are providing to us. I'd like to continue those updates in our highlighter for our townships. Hanover Park has 4 townships. We're equally in 2 counties, so there's a lot going on, a lot of things to track. And to have your support, we do appreciate that. So I just got back from Washington, D.C. I spent a marvelous week out there. I left on Tuesday. Tuesday evening, I met with a few lobbyists I happen to know over the years, talking about reaching out and communicating with our congressmen as they are in business out there. Now, most of the representatives were on recess, so Washington was pretty quiet. But their staff is hard at work, and we all know who does the work. It's the staff. And so my ability to communicate with the staff keeps my doors of opportunity open. Last night I had a call with Roger Krishnamurthy, and I said I wanted to follow up on a message I left there. And so we had a great conversation with him to do that. And my conversation has been basically around Western access. Last Saturday, there was a meeting with all the legislators, and Raja was there, and he stood up, and the first thing out of his mouth was Western access. So Western access to O'Hare is so important to us because there's no transit from Hanover Park, Roselle, Bartlett. We have no transit to O'Hare. You have to go all the way around it. It gets crazy. So we're on the cusp of that. When I was in Washington, I met with the senators, and Senator Durbin invited us to his office for breakfast before they had to start their deliberations. And it was interesting because Lori Lightfoot showed up. And I've become accustomed that the mayor of Chicago just is not a part of what mayors are doing across this country. And she came and we had a great conversation. So that was absolutely marvelous. And I appreciated that, talking about Western Access and having some viability together between municipalities. Now they're the big bear in the room, and so we have to find ways to work together. And she's of a mind to try to work together with the municipalities. I'm very active with the Illinois Municipal League. I'm on the executive board, and so I have opportunities to continue our conversations. On Wednesday evening, I was invited to the Japanese, what do you call them? The ambassador's office, ambassador's home, big home. There was 250 mayors, spouses, department heads, who knows? There were a lot of people at the ambassador's home. I had a presentation. We have 5 corporations in Hanover Park that are based out of Japan. And so I brought a street sign with each of those corporations signed off on. And I wanted to present that to the ambassador. And I was approached by the Consul General of Chicago. And he said, Mr. Mayor, would you rather present that to me? Because if you present it to the ambassador, he has to present you a gift back. And he's not prepared to present gifts to the guest, meaning the 250 mayors that showed up. And so I went into my humble hat mode, and I said, but of course. And so we had a nice exchange. He said, we really appreciate this, and I'd like to come to Hanover Park. And I said, we'll find a way to have a reception, and I'll invite a few of my neighbors that have Japanese firms, and I'm looking forward to that. It's another item on Juliana's plate. I don't know if I shared that with you yet, but we're going to try to have a reception with our Japanese firms and our partners. As a global village, we look forward to that. Covered all that. I'd like to share with you that, as you know, Hanover Park is my goals for a long time is that all children are capable of success and give them hope without exception, no exception. My Kids at Hope Day is coming up in April, and many of you come and have a table and set up, and we look forward to that again. The school children come, and it's about moms and dads finding ways and learning about ways to assist their children through the summer. That's how it kind of started, that there's baseball and football and all the activities and church activities, and it's just a marvelous opportunity. And so recently, when I was with the mayors in DC, we had an evening event, and it was a Latino recognition event. I get invited every year. I'm a friend to the Latino leaders out of Washington, and I met with Regina. I forgot her last name. I got to quit calling people by their first name. But anyway, we have a little video with Regina. Can you play that?
Hi, Dean. This is your mayor. I'm here with Regina Romero from Tucson, Arizona. She's a new mayor. She was the first Latino woman to be elected in her hometown, and we're very proud of her. And we see her just so proud of her community leadership. And she'd like to say a few words to give us all hope for the future.
All you have to do is just believe in yourself, believe that you're worth your time and investment that others place on you, place in yourself. And that I just want to encourage you to show up and stay in school, study hard, and be committed to improving your life. So congratulations and thank you, Mayor.
Oh, thank you so much, Regina. And one day you can be mayor too.
So, as you can see, when I say one day you can be mayor too. This is my message. I spend a lot of time in the schools. I like on Fridays and Monday mornings, I'm in at least 4 schools. And I get invited, and I've been to the new Muslim school. But I like to talk in an encouraging way and provide hope to young people that are maybe don't have all the hope in the world, but that to model this, when I went to Washington, the teachers were saying, Mayor, can you bring back something to tell us about your trip? So I'm gonna find a little time and get that on my Facebook page. But the children like to know, Mr. Mayor, why are you going to the White House? Well, what's that all about? And you know, we hear when you're there, you get to see and hear the goodness of the people we elect to go to Washington. That's not what we're seeing in the news. And it's not what we're seeing when the news reports the hot items. There's a lot of goodness going on in our country, and I was very concerned about some of that. When I sat down with Senator Durbin and Senator Duckworth, I clearly said to them, you know, the perception back in my town is that all we want to do is fight and we're not getting anything done. And they both assured me that we went down on the Senate floor, and they said, you see those 2 cloakrooms? One's for the Republicans and one's for the Democrats. We don't check cards at the door. Democrats come in the Republican cloakroom and we communicate, and vice versa. And we're talking to one another and we care about what's going on. And I told them, well, one of the big items is infrastructure. We've been waiting 11 years for some federal dollars for infrastructure. The state finally got off the dime, and they said, there's going to be an infrastructure bill, leave the House next week. This is next week. So it might not be this week, but it might be the next week, but they're very close, and then we'll see what happens in the Senate. But they need to get over their skullduggery, and I think they heard from many of the mayors that were out there that there's the rest of us that are trying to perform and work where the rubber hits the road, and that's in our communities, and we need that support. So strategically, these are our key components for our strategic plan. You can see those up there. I'm going to run through them. Our financial health, I touched on our bonding. I think Juliana's leadership, the Remy refuses to give me a dime. I'm very demanding, but we're good about our reserves. We're good about our funding. We make the payroll. We're not missing payrolls, and it's very expensive to operate a police department that can take up to 45%. I think it was 48% the last time I checked. Am I close, Remy? Yeah, okay. 48% of our budget goes to policing, and that's including pensions, that's including overtime, and when anything happens. So it's important in our policing environment, make sure everybody locks their car doors. There's people that can just come to town, they feel we're quiet and unknowledgeable, and people leave their car doors open. And the mayor's been known to do that a few times himself. So it's important to lock up our car doors, because that's what they do. They go through the neighborhood and check that out. I mentioned our balanced budget. The village board likes approving a balanced budget. We like having a little reserve enough that I'll speak to some of the capital programs we've been able to undertake. We've managed to not have a sewer or a water bill increase for 5 years. I'm very proud of that. Incrementally, we put money away, and if we have to use some of that, we have a reserve, and that's important. You can't run down on a $0 amount if something happens, then you have an emergency, and you've seen it in the news where some towns are in trouble because they don't plan, and we have good planning, and I'm speaking to a strategic plan that we've had as long as I've been in office. And this coming year, we are revisiting our strategic plan. So it's a good time to do that. We have received the Governmental Finance Officers, the GFOA Distinguished Award. I think this is our 29th year in a row, something like that. I'm getting a nod from Remy. Okay, so 29 years. So it's a history of our community to function with a solid budget. And it's been that way as long as I've been on the board, trustee and now mayor. We could continue to receive certificates of achievement for excellence in financial reporting and planning. I've already mentioned our AA bond rating, and the way things have been happening in the state, many municipalities are losing bond rating, not Hanover Park. We keep our eye on the ball for that. Our economic development, all right. Sue's gotten to know me pretty well, you know, as I move along. And Sue has been just absolutely marvelous since I mentioned your name, Sue. She said last night, Mayor, I think we're going to need donuts. So I said, I'll pick them up. You know, so we got some donuts out there. Please take a donut with you. I don't want them to end up in my office. I got to eat them all. It's my stab at a joke, you know, whether it's good or not. But economic development, Shubra has been doing a nice job. Her leadership back in there has been consistent. Outreach. Sometimes I'll call her late at night. Oh, Mayor, what happened? I'm probably a bit much for some of our department heads, but they all know that it's about our community, and this is a caring community, and hopefully that's the kind of thing I can model and continue to model into the future. I just love this job. I like getting out there with the people and the kids and going to Washington and rattling everybody's cage. And so economic development, our Soul Smart Award, the board, Soul Smart was about solar power, and we changed some ordinances thanks to staff. We followed the component that does that, and all of a sudden we went from 2 homes that had solar power to over 100 in a very short time, 18 months, 24 months, whatever it is. I went to U.S. Conference of Mayors last summer. Hanover Park received a recognition for the increase in solar initiative. And people have asked me, how did you do that? It's pretty simple. We changed some rules to make it receptive for homeowners in Hanover Park to add solar to their home. And it happened in an exceptional way. And to tell you the truth, I've not had one complaint from a homeowner about the solar installations. They're happy with it, it's working. I assume, because I had no complaints. But we did send letters out thanking them for their initiative, and it helps our economics in Hanover Park, our EAV, and so EAV is important to the success and demonstration in our community. Streetscape improvement design, we have that. Our future of our downtown, our TIF 3, got that amended. We needed an extension through the years of the downturn. Nothing was going on. And so I went to the state and I said, what does it take to get an extension of our TIF? And the rules changed. Michael Madigan said you have to have the support of every taxing body that touches that TIF. So those for you that are here from other taxing bodies, thank you. I got your support. It was not easy. That TIF is in 2 counties. To go to every taxing body in both counties, I don't know, there were over 20. And got that approval, and thank you very much. Now that was about a year and a half ago, so it was appreciated. And I think the library's got it. The townships understood it. Metropolitan Water Sanitation District says, well, we don't approve any of those. And I said, well, you say you have no objection? Oh, we can do that. So those are the kind of things that I went through personally, visiting all the taxing bodies. And everybody was just absolutely marvelous. And I did like getting that honorable mention for solar last summer. I had the big mentions went to the city of Los Angeles, am I right? And the city of New York City. Quite a bit larger cities, a lot more going on, all kinds of staff to support that. And then there's Hanover Park with 38,000 people, and I'm standing there in the middle. Where's Hanover Park? I loved it. It sent a pretty strong message. that you don't have to be a city of millions to achieve and accomplish the goals of the leadership of this community. Economic development, we have the Everclean car wash opened across the street. I like a clean car. I signed up for the monthly pass, and they get to know me by name across the street. They said, "Your truck's clean." I said, "Yeah, look at the wheel wells." "Oh, okay." So I'm a little over the top, but I'm really happy they're there. The Menards expansion, I'm really pleased with the Menards expansion. You know, keeping Menards in town, that was a personal initiative of mine back in '05. I went up to speak to them in Appleton, and Bill McLeod and Hoffman, he still shakes his fist at me, as good of a friend as he is, because they were going to Hoffman, and I assured them that Hanover Park is where they wanted to be, and they stayed, and now they're expanding. With that expansion, they're going to have the equipment that people want as far as home restorations and whatnot. So they used to send people to other Menards to pick up their whatnot, and so hopefully that'll help our revenue stream coming from Menards, and I look forward to them completing that. Mixed-use development, fueling station, retail. The northwest corner of Gary and Lake has been vacant for a long time. So next meeting, we will be approving that development. I expect some good revenue to come out of there. There's a large building they're putting in for more industrial, not on the corner, but set back. The fueling station is helps our MFT dollars, and that's motor fuel tax dollars that can come to the municipality. And hopefully they want to start this year, and they want to get moving. And so I'm excited about that. So we'll watch, and we've been all over that in many different ways. The senior housing veranda, that's been on the docket for a while. They started the second phase. They're starting to sell homes. Nobody wants to be the first one. They don't want to be the only person living in a neighborhood. Now they're starting to get folks to move in, and it's becoming a great place to live. The developer, fairly new to development, and we've had our ups and downs, but we're moving ahead, and I'm excited about that. It's a quality development and a step up for this community. The economic development, I got a lot of pages, don't I? She had to keep raising the print so I could read it. The several events that we have to encourage people to learn about Hanover Park with our, it's all about business retention. It's about bringing business together to learn from one another. We've had many events in the neighborhood. We have some nice new restaurants. Brianna's open. I'm really excited about them. They have a senior breakfast where they give you the coffee free, and you ask for 2 eggs and they give you 3. I'm trying to figure that out. But very nice people. The gentleman that owns it at one time, until recently, lived in Hanover Park, and I used to harass him. When are you going to open your business and help us get some jobs right here locally? Nihi's open. It's they call it street food, and so Chuber had explained that to me. In India, apparently vendors carry food on their backs, and they'll prepare things, and they walk in the streets. And while this is not created out on the street, this is certainly some really good food, and I'm getting compliments from people that say, "Oh, we'd like to try something different." My body's not adapting to the spices, so I'm trying to tell them to hold off on the spices when I go there. The Yummy Station, I was there last night. They got some really good food, very pleasant. They have the finest smoothies. I like a peach smoothie, and you know, it's nice. They get fresh peaches in there, and it's just nice. I just sometimes just go there and get a smoothie. So many of our after-hour events, local businesses, Expo, we've been pushing on that. It's coming across well. Our work with Bartlett on the what do we call it? The chamber. It just escaped my mind. Wonderful work with the chamber, supporting one another. It's the best thing we've done in a long time, and our relationship continues to grow. It takes time. You'd like to just have it be turnkey. It's never that way. And our industrial parks are flourishing. They're never below 90% filled. They're in DuPage County. People like that. Folks that have 40,000 square feet of building will leave Cook County and they'll come to Hanover Park, DuPage County, and they tell me they can buy a Bentley a year on the money they're saving. I don't know what a Bentley costs, but it's probably more than I'm making. So moving on to enhance infrastructure, maintaining, enhancing our infrastructure. We invested heavily. We have about 12, I don't know if I'm correct, a large number of cement streets from the early 60s. They've been coming apart. They've been paved over a few times. We've lost the curbs out there. So this year, we knocked out half of them. And our plan for next year, given the grace of legislators that are supposed to provide us the dollars, have we received them yet, Juliana? I didn't. I talked to Fred Cresswell yesterday. I didn't even ask, but we expect those dollars to be coming to us to help us finish that project up. And we completed a whole area down south where there was a long avenue of streets, and so that was completed this past year. So investing in our streets is very important to us. We've spent money on a paving machine that should give us a good 8 feet along the curb. Some of our curbs are going bad, so I'm looking forward to that. Juliana ran out of the room. I hope it wasn't something I said, but I'm really excited about where we're at. Our if any of you have been in town for a while, you know we had the issue with the trees. We installed over 700 trees, replacing those. The disease went from the south to the north, so we're replacing south to north. So good opportunities for us. Our community image, the letters are getting smaller. So our community image awards, we continue on Neighborhood Watch. We're still in the top 100 communities across the country. I think we're at 37 today, and that's nice to know. Quality communities demonstrate safe communities, and people like communities that are safe, and we've come a long way in the last 10 years, incrementally improving that number every year. We like to identify ourselves as a diverse community by our logo, as a global community, and so opportunities to reach out to those corporations that are in our community, that are based where folks have come from other places. We celebrate that. And you look at all our restaurants and you'll see we have a plethora, many different types of foods that are available in our community, and I'm really pleased to see that. Nihi's is a great example of quality Indian-based community restaurant. And they've been in Ohio, they're in Michigan, and they came to Hanover Park because they saw us as a place they want to be. And so I appreciate the outreach there. We have, our CERT teams are working well. We've had some Spanish speaking groups and get-togethers. I think we had one in St. Ansgar. We probably have another one coming up, right, Chief? And so those are all excellent quality initiatives from the police department. The fire department is additionally working well with our townships, and especially with Hanover Township, who has, we have this nice relationship and working together. And we do appreciate that work. Working together collaboratively with our neighbors is always exceptional. So our image and identity for us this year. The 2020 census is very important. I had completed a little video. When I was in Washington, we had the national census folks there, and the state has invested dollars. The municipalities investing dollars. We're getting some grants through from the state, and that is excellent. And we have complete counts committee. They met recently, and my initiative is trusted voices. A lot of people are not trusting the feds to say they're going to do something. And when I was in Washington, they are very committed to that. They're very respectful of our identity and who we are. They just don't give that away. They're very respectful of that. So it's important that we, of our community, convey that we need your vote. We need you out there helping us. And I did a little video when I was in Washington, and if we can run that.
Well, good morning to all my friends in Hanover Park, and little time here with the census folks from Washington, D.C. And I'm pleased to say that not only I count, but you count, and we count in blue, and we count in red, and in white. We count in teal. So this is a wonderful day in our community to demonstrate to the world, no matter where we come from, no matter what we look like, we count. And it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and we're going to keep it that way. And I need all of you in Hanover Park to count. Thank you very much. We count.
So you can tell I had a little attitude with the guy that walked in front of me, and he turned around and he looked and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." But it's that Chicago style that we have. If somebody crosses our tracks in front of us, it's like, "Hey, what are you thinking?" So, but the people that were there from the Census Bureau, they said, that was so natural, so grounded. Who wouldn't want to take the census? So they asked me if they had permission to use that little video snip. But it's not only important that I count, but it's important that we all count, and our friends count, and our neighbors count, and a good count has benefits for all our taxing bodies, not just the Village of Hanover Park. So that's important, and I appreciate staff figuring out last night how to insert some of these things that I just brought back with me. As you know, effective governance is a key component in the Village of Hanover Park, and we have comprehensive updates of our buildings and our grounds and structures, our computer-aided dispatch system. I'm also on the executive board of DUCOM, and it's important that systems like DUGIS and implementing new village-wide alert systems are implemented and implemented effectively. Our fire department can now respond a minute or two quicker because of some of the relaying of the message. We used to rely on the box alarms coming, and then everybody would jump up, throw their boots on, and grab the truck and go. Now they're getting a text message, and they're in the truck by the time the alarms go off, and that kind of time can save lives. We know if somebody's in harm's way or they're having heart attack or stress or a stroke type symptoms, minutes can make a difference in recovery and lives. So that's so important. And I appreciate the commitment of DUCOM. I appreciate the commitment of our police and fire to support the initiatives that bring that forward. And it's not cheap. We're paying for it. It costs us money. But each of the members of DUCOM have made that decision that it's important for the lives of our residents. And like I said, these things don't come cheap, but it's important that our professionalism is right at the top, and the kind of things that I expect shortly is the top of the top is ISO 1 for a fire department. And we're close to achieving that. We've got all the boxes checked. Those ISO oversight folks, that's the insurance something agency that validate that. I came to office, I think we were an ISO 6 or something, 4, okay. And so growing incrementally, 4 is like good, it's very good. When you get up to 2 and 1, you're making a huge difference. We're at 2 today, we'll be at 1. So continuous improvement is our value statement for Hanover Park. Looking ahead to our special events, we have, somebody's in that photo with me, and I don't know who it is. Pardon me? You in the middle? Was that you? All right, so we got Deb in there, and it's nice that you're here, Deb, to identify that. Who's that person? The masked woman. Anyway, business after hours working great. We love that. Our Black History Month. Herb Porter has taken the bull by the horns on Black History Month, and his way of speaking to the history and the Black history and what's going on. His presentation at Hoffman Estates on Martin Luther King Day was exceptional. I couldn't thank him enough. We learned so much. He just came back from our sister city in Ghana, and he came back with exciting news about trying to have some exchanges. They grow pineapples there, but they're not Hawaiian pineapples. They're Ghana pineapples. They're very sweet, but they're not yellow. They're white. They're different. And he said, boy, if we could set up something with our importers maybe we can get some of those in our community and demonstrate we're supporting our sister city in an exceptional way. He came back with so many ideas. We could bust the manager's budget in a minute, but we're not going to do that. We're going to reach out to the local businesses and see if we can really build our sister city initiative. And so I was really exceptionally proud of what Herb has done. Kids at Hope Community Center, I spoke to that in the beginning. I believe all children are capable of success without exception. The teachers in this community, when I go into the classroom, they believe that. They are a model of it. They are proud of their professions. We're very fortunate to have the level of education that we see in Hanover Park. And so April 24th, if any of you want to come by, please do so. Market in the Metro. We are looking at a May date of 16th, it looks like. And our Memorial Day observance on May 25th. Memorial Day, you see in the front, if any of you have ever come, recognize our, remembering our veterans who we've lost over the years. A number of additional special events include, they're getting smaller too. Wednesday night, we have some dates, June 17th, July 8th, and August 5th at the Pavilion. And bring in different bands and whatnot. Our Touch a Truck is always a great event. We get nice support from the townships. They bring some of their wicked equipment over. Our CERT teams are there, our fire department's there. The kids enjoy it. You can always hear a horn going off. It's a lot of fun on a big truck to hit the horn. And our Corks and Crafts in September 12th, that's been a lot of fun the last few years. And people, even though it was raining last year and we were walking in the mud, we had a good time. We enjoyed ourselves. And my whole family showed up. That was kind of cool. December 4th is tree lighting. Movies in the park. We've got 3 dates, and one of the dates is at the Park District, and the Park District's always been supportive with that. And our Cops Day at the same time. So I enjoy all that. It's great community outreach, and people can see what's going on when we are at our new pavilion on Barrington Road. We've invested a lot of money there, and we will continue to do that as that area grows for our youth sports. The upcoming project and goals, I already mentioned the ISO Class 1 and accreditation. $2 million in the budget for reconstruction of the concrete streets. I kind of mentioned that as a capital item. When you can set money aside and then really get after these old streets. And when you have concrete buckling and you overpay it, they're not safe to cross the street there. So we're getting after that. All the concrete streets are in Hanover Township portion of town. So people are going to see some investment in their community, in their neighborhood, in Hanover Township. We should have been doing this for last 20 years, one at a time, replacing it. We now need to do it. And I've asked for support from our state legislators, and I believe there's some coming. We're still waiting for the call. Arlington Drive Bridge, that's been a hot item on our list. I think we're starting it this year. Is TJ here? Next year. Okay, so all the engineering is going on right now. And so the funds are there. The state is committed to it. I did special videos for our legislators to let them know that Hanover Park is alive and well and we need this bridge fixed. We've had Lake Street shut down a few times and the big trucks come down Arlington Drive. Those trucks would kill that bridge. So we've had to stop them, and hopefully we'll get it done sooner than later. But that'll be some impact to that neighborhood because there's only two ways to get in and out of there. Village Center streetscape improvement, that's a work in progress, it's ongoing. If you go to the east by that train station, you'll see all the ComEd trucks bearing the wires. Going to get that area squared away for our future downtown. The construction of 27 new townhomes by Habitat. Habitat DuPage has been doing a marvelous job in our town, and it's about neighborhood revitalization. The Tanglewood area needs revitalization. They've been working with homeowners. They've been helping young people get into a home, and through education and handy work. And so I'm really pleased with that. I mentioned the expansion of Menards, and right now we're looking at updating a number of our building codes. Some of them are outdated, tired, and old. And I don't have that video, but I'm excited about the future downtown. Hanover Park does not have a downtown. We need an area that people want to go to. We need a destination area. So we're looking for some quality and improvements. And with that, I want to thank you all for coming. I'm really excited. I'm looking at the clock. I did this in under an hour. I think the first time I did this, it went well over an hour. So thank you to the staff for keeping me focused with some slides. And thank you to the weather for allowing more of you to come. And thank you to those of you, like David, took an hour off of work to be here to hear what the mayor has to say. And the work to support Hanover Park is honorable. We appreciate it. And thank you very much.